a box office upset, the drought ends for the YouTube TV subscribers, and a new form of indie distributor. All this and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another rendition of Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, is the ever-lovely Jake Holtzclaw. Jake, what up, man? How you doing?
I'm lovely. I'm doing great, man. I don't know if I promised you guys that I would ride the motorcycle last weekend, but I broke that promise. It did not work out. Brake problems. Yeah, well, I mean, I could have just for you, but I would have been riding without front brakes, and not that you need them, but you definitely should have them.
Wimp.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. So we're going to try and get that fixed this week, and we'll see if we ever get a warmer day.
Ever again.
Ever this year. It's not looking good. This weekend, clear, thankfully. It was raining. High of 50s. This is weather with Beyond the Screen.
Yeah.
This is this weekend's forecast.
No more box office. We're going to review this past weekend's weather.
Everything but movie.
Yeah.
Dude, great podcast. That's actually licensed. You have to pay me for that. Anything but movies.
Literally Beyond the Screen. We're nothing, no screen, nothing.
No. Beyond the Screen is actually a monitor repair shop podcast.
Yes. We're going to walk you through how to repair your monitor. Thank you for joining us today. I feel like I have to talk like Bob Ross to be really like calm and collected. Like, and now you're going to remove the screen. And like, just like golf.
Well, there's also that other guy who made his fame by throwing eggs at everything. And like, this is how you make an omelet. And it's just like,
oh yeah.
And he's just throwing eggs at everything. I don't know.
But anyway, with your monitor, with your computer screen.
Yeah, this is how you fix it. It's just 20 eggs just get bombarded.
Yeah.
So, how was your weekend, Ryan?
It was good. I was able to get caught up on some important things, but primarily because we are a film and TV and entertainment style of show, I was able to watch some fun stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, it's okay. But I was able to. I'm not quite caught up yet, but I am one episode away from being caught up on Welcome to Derry, which, if you haven't seen that, it's okay. This episode 1 and 2 are great. Episode 3 was probably my least favorite, but it was also the one with the least amount of scares. I think that this one was kind of just a bridge for me. It was a lot of character development. Episode 3 yesterday, which was Sunday, as of recording, was episode 4's release. I haven't watched that yet, but I was able to watch episode 3, and I'm excited to continue watching. But we're fastly approaching Pennywise's debut on the show, which is in episode 5, I think. So this upcoming Sunday could be when we see the clown for the first time. And so it's doing a really good job at laying out the land. But again, it's like, I just feel like, remember, well, I don't know if it was on this show.
Is it Skarsgård in this as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was on this show. I remember talking about it to you and Emily, and I feel like it might have been on the pod. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the way that I kind of described the very first episode when it released almost a month ago was I was shocked because it felt like they were upsetting or upending the normal trope of the series and of any of the story that we got from it and Pennywise is like group of kids come together and, we're scared, but we're going to overcome. But it's like, that there's another 27 years. So it's like, how do they overcome kind of thing without it being too much like the movie? But I was delightfully surprised that it was shockingly different. We have rounded our way back to it being a group of kids, like where like we went from having like 5 or 6 back down to 1, and now we're back up to 4. It's like what's happened in the story, and so it's kind of like, oh, I wonder if that was just for shock factor. Like in episode 1 was that literally just to say, ooh, this is interesting and different, just so they could tell the same story again? I don't know. I won't even lie. Like, it's a little bit of a letdown to see it do so well in its introduction and like upending everything for it to immediately just say, actually, psych, this is the same thing as it always is. So I'm hoping that it continues to be different. or like find ways to be unique, not just the same it. But I am quite enjoying it either way.
You're
And
enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it.
Huh.
And then there is one more series, and I'm trying to remember exactly what the name is, but I watched it first. The Beast in Me. I did have to look it up because I couldn't remember. I was going to say like The Monster in Me or something, but The Beast in Me is about a writer who has kind of found themselves down on their luck. They, not just in their profession, but in their personal life, and up and at them as they're running out of funds. They're about to be foreclosed on their house. A really controversial real estate Mongol moves in next door and wants to buy the land for something. This real estate Mongol could have murdered his wife. We don't know. And it's a mystery thriller in the lieu of like Broadchurch. So it's like kind of like in that same, if you've watched that show, kind of like the mystery thriller or The Devil's Hour, or something very like mystery thriller whodunit kind of thing. It's very well done. In the first episode, anyway, I watched only the introduction, and then I wanted to watch Welcome to Derry, and it's pretty well done. I'm excited to see how the show continues. So, but that's what I watched this past weekend. That's what I got started or tried to get caught up on.
I'm trying to get my hands on Pluribus.
Ooh, Apple TV, right?
I'm having to send my feelers out and find out who got that. Who got that?
Bro, what you logging?
I just want to watch. I mean, I'll try to binge it. I'll log out soon as I get done with it, man.
Yeah, it might be worth waiting until the season's done because they're only like 3 episodes in right now, and I think it's gonna be like a 10 or 11 episode season. I could be wrong on that, but I'd be excited to hear your take. I think my family has Apple TV, so I might also log in and watch that one. But
I think it's. I want to. This is a comment on TikTok, but it is like a hive mind take over the world, and she and some other people are immune to it, but the hive mind finds her interesting and entertaining and wants to continue, I guess, helping her live her day to day.
It
like,
looks kind of
the clip that I saw was she was walking into a grocery store that was completely empty, like with nothing in there, and she had and then she had actually called, I guess, somebody or the hive mind somehow from one of the phones in the grocery store, and then there's like 20 trucks that show up in the parking lot because there's nobody there. There's no cars there. 20 trucks show up, and the entire grocery store gets stocked, and it's beautiful. It's like most pristine and fully stocked grocery store you've ever seen. Great cinematography from like the shots that like it just makes you feel like it's eerie, but like it's like, wow, that's actually amazing how fast they did that. And she's like, I don't want you waiting on me to like do things or whatever, or I don't know. But that's like the whole clip is just like, it's very weird. And they talk like a hive mind. So like each person that walked by her said different parts of the sentence.
Oh, that's cool. I wonder if it's inspired any form of inspiration from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because that's what it makes me think. That's the one with Donald Sutherland, that the thriller horror from 1978. That's kind of what it like. Just the description and from what I've seen and from that, it's what it makes me think of is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where it's like humanity taken over by an invisible force. Like each person is like infected and turns into like, I guess it's kind of like a hive mind in that series as well. But it's a movie, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know. The description further and further makes me think of that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I don't know. It looks after seeing that, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna try and get my hand. Like at first, I was just gonna be like, if I ever see it come up, like I'll watch it. But now I'm like, there's some effort. Like I need to put effort into finding it and getting my hands on it. Yeah. So those are my future movie plans. But
yeah.
With that, we'll go and hop into our first quick micro segment, which is always every Monday afternoon. What are we drinking? In which we will go over what caffeinated or non-caffeinated beverage we are partaking in to get us through this recording session. So, Jake, I'm going to get you started. You're going to start us off here. Kick us off.
First.
What's the bev?
So my mom, right, several weeks ago bought me 2 18 packs of Celsius.
Oh
This is the last one.
no!
And there's a reason it's the last. This flavor is the last one because I am not a big pineapple fella,
yeah.
and it's the tropical vibe. You will not catch me. I mean, this is willing, but like it's because I have to. I'm not a pineapple
I
guy.
don't like the way pineapple make the acid makes my tongue feel.
I like real pineapple. I'll chop up a real pineapple fresh.
It's
This
fine.
stuff like artificial, heck no. But
Artificial's worse for sure.
Celsius is still a Celsius, and like I can get through it because it's still good. It's just like I don't like fake pineapple.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, Ryan?
I have returned to Ye Olde Classic. We're bringing in the peach mango V8 Energy. I love it. It's cleaner. It feels cleaner. It's not caffeinated. It's not a White Monster. It's not a Celsius. Although I do think Celsius is probably more healthy than a Monster or a Red Bull. But
It's still got sucralose in it, which is suspected of carcinogen. Mine, Celsius, right?
I don't see. Yeah, so like the ingredients in this one is like water, veggie juice, concentrated juices of sweet potatoes, carrots, fruit juice. So it's like this. Like I feel like this is a pretty reputable.
At least I
source
thought
of
it did.
caffeine. And
Never mind.
my backup drink is just a tumbler of water.
Oh, it does have sucralose. Sorry.
Just to stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, folks. Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. And that has been What Are We Drinking? And with that, we're going to go and hop into our first segment, which is, as always, the box office. Before we get to the numbers, we're going to go over our predictions from last week. And let me tell you something. We were very close to having a 5 out of 5. We've only done one of those so far. Jake almost caught me. We were super close. But before we reveal what 4 were correct for him, we're going to go over what our predictions were for this past week. So heading into this week, I predicted The Running Man would finish first, with Predator Badlands second, Now You See Me 3 in third, Keeper 4th, Regretting You 5. Jake predicted Now You See Me 3-1, The Running Man 2, Predator 3, Regretting You 4, and Keeper 5. And with that, we'll go to who got it right. Jake was 4 out of 5. The top 4 were correct for him, from Now You See Me down through Regretting You, and we'll go through those numbers here in a minute. But we each got Black Phone 2 incorrect at 5. What was it? Regretting You slid down to 5th. We'll go ahead and go over those.
Regretting You went up to 4. Black Phone 5. Keeper 6.
Yes, as you at home watching visually can see, Now You See Me. The story of the weekend, ladies and gentlemen, is the battle between Now You See Me and The Running Man, as many thought that The Running Man would absolutely skate by Now You See Me 3. Does not happen, as in an upset, the Ruben Fleischer directed third installment into the magic trick laden franchise zooms past fellow debut, the Edgar Wright directed and the aforementioned Running Man, earning $21 million domestically and $75.2 million globally. Those are both fantastic numbers for a film that had a $90 million budget, almost earning back all of its what would took to spend and to make it, not in terms of its marketing, but immediately earning it back in less than 3 days. The first 2 films in the franchise, as outlined by the Associated Press, earned over $686 million worldwide. It's looking increasingly like this will become a billion-dollar franchise, and apparently, still according to the AP, a 4th film is in fact already in the works. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the film is polling well with audiences. So on the cinema score, they have, and on the popcorn meter, they have a B+ and an 80% respectively, despite poor reviews. So critics are saying, this isn't great, but audiences are enjoying it. Finishing second, and again, the loser, ironically, is The Running Man, finishing with $16.495 million domestically. The film had similar reviews from fans and critics, earning a B+ cinema score despite the same mixed critical reviews. An interesting note from both the AP and the Hollywood Reporter, a large majority of the Now You See Me audience was made up of a female demographic, 54%, when compared to The Running Man's 37%. Unlike the other film, however, The Running Man only earned $27.695 million globally on a $110 million budget. So another detail that was outlined by the Daily's newsletter to keep in mind as well, the difference between
the earnings globally between these two films might not be as drastic as you think when you take into account that, one, The Running Man is an R-rated film, and Now You See Me is not, so immediately you have family appeal. But secondarily, The Running Man has yet to debut in huge international markets such as China, Korea, and Brazil, which is polling very well in those places, or not just early screenings, but in predictions. So The Running Man very well might be a profitable film, which is not always indicative of if a film is successful or not. Like, we say the numbers for you at home to decide. We're not saying it's successful or not successful. However, the fact that this film came close domestically, even if it was a letdown, and it hasn't even debuted overseas yet, I think, at least in the major markets overseas, I think says that this will probably be a successful film profit-wise. So, Jake, outside of the fact that this is an R-rated film and that it seems like the female demographic flooded to theaters to go see Now You See Me, why do you think Now You See Me was more interesting for audiences overall?
I think that Running Man might like put off that nonsensical violence level. Like, I don't know, that trope of just, I was just going to be a bunch of people trying to kill him and chase him around. Like, we've seen, I think, like, wasn't Gray Man like that?
Yeah, with Ryan Gosling, right?
And I don't remember if that did super well,
Was
but
it Gray Man a Netflix?
I enjoyed his performance, but I mean, I just don't remember if it did very well.
I remember it. Yeah, so I've got it looked up here now. It did not do well with ratings, but it was a Netflix like exclusive, so it was only a streamer. But it sounds like it got about, like, your point is it had a very similar polling. Like, people, granted, Running Man seems like it did better with audiences than Gray Man did, but they do seem very similar. Actually, no, I lied. Gray Man has a 90% on the popcorn meter, so it did even better.
Well, I think that like Running Man is I guess it has the comedic appeal. I think that your foundation is Glenn Powell's like delivery and his nature. Like flipping off the camera was hilarious, I think.
Yeah.
And his like reactions to like, you got to be kidding me type of stuff really builds off of that. But I read that a lot of people thought that the story was rushed. They don't really get to, I guess, live in the moments with certain characters that they wish they either knew more about or wish they had interacted with for longer or more often. Like, I think one example was the Michael Cera's character. People would wish that they had hung out with him more and learned more about him. But
that's shocking from an Edgar Wright, because the guy, I mean, Baby Driver, Last Night in Soho, all of the you have Shaun of the Dead, you have...
But you didn't learn a lot about the side characters in Baby Driver much either.
Well,
apart
I mean,
from what they were involved in. But that was kind of the point, right?
Crew,
You're not supposed to.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to know anything about them.
I just feel like a guy that like expertly crafts stories like Edgar Wright in a fast-paced way. Because if you go back to any of those films, Shaun of the Dead, At World's End, all the way through Baby Driver and Last Night at Soho, they're not slow. Like, they're very fast-paced, but they're well-developed. So it's shocking to see a film called The Running Man have that critique of not developed enough from a guy who's made his career off of like that style.
Yeah. Well, I'm just telling you what I've read about like this one person's critique of it, and then like several of the replies to that one comment.
Yeah.
Saying that it's like, yeah, I kind of felt the same way. Wish we had seen more of this person or that person or Josh Brolin or whatever. So
interesting.
Or like more world building, I guess, in this world where Running Man is a concept or a thing that people watch or care about. It's like, I want to know more like the Hunger Games style.
Well, that's what I was about to say. It's
Yeah.
funny you say that, because I was about to say, do you worry about getting too close to Hunger Games?
Yeah. Well, it's like, how do you even get to an event like the Running Man is, I think, what people were after. And so if it does really, really well, it could possibly come back as a 2 and then ultimately flop because it lost everything that 1 was about. But anyway.
If I will say, before we move on to go ahead and go down the rest of our top 5 and beyond, if this film continues the track that it's on, this will be the first financial flop that Glenn Powell has been a part of since he's reached stardom. So something to keep in mind with this. Again, financial flop, which does not necessarily mean the film was a failure, but keep that in mind. Going down our list here, finishing third in its second weekend is Predator Badlands, earning $12.7 million. A steeper drop from week-to-week sales than expected, with a 68% ticket sale drop. Finishing fourth is Regretting You in its first month at week 4 at the box office, earning $3.7 million domestically. And rounding out our top 5 is the fifth week Black Phone 2, earning just under $2.65 million domestically. Other films of note anyway, Osgood Perkins, third film for distributor Neon, fails with audiences, earning a D+ cinema score, which is rare for the guy that made Longlegs and The Monkey, right? 2 films that hit hard. Now, we're seeing this trend with Osgood, very quick turnaround, right? Longlegs was 2 years ago, last year was The Monkey, or maybe early this year was The Monkey, and then immediately Keeper late this year. And I know he's already working on another one. I think Nicole Kidman signed on for his next one, which probably will release next year or early the year after. So do we think that maybe this is a case of we're working too fast to create stuff instead of like taking the time to develop these, or do we think this was just kind of the first negative notch in the belt of a guy that Neon hopes to be the next mainstream horror creator?
I didn't see a whole lot on that movie, so I can't really say. Plus, he's more of that thriller style. Like, I'm probably not the best person to ask about Osgood Perkins and his type of movies, right?
I haven't seen this. Like, I didn't go watch it this past weekend. I will say I thought Longlegs was disappointing. Like, I felt like Longlegs was so close, and I feel like, so for me, it's like, if you can tell a story about a normal guy who is as scary as he is just naturally, I think that is terrifying. But they were like, they built up Nicolas Cage's the killer's name is Longlegs, shockingly. Nicolas Cage's Longlegs is like this, like, how is he doing it? How is he making this family commit suicide and then leaving a cipher in none of the family's handwriting? Like, that was like really interesting. Like, it was, all of them were classic murder suicide until they would get to the cipher note that was all the same handwriting across. Like, that is interesting. It's like, how do they do that? Turns out it was just demon. I felt like that was a cop out. I felt like they had he ran out of ways to tell that story, and it was just demon. You know what I'm saying though? Like, it's just like, I was not enthused. I was not like, it literally was like devil. Oh, okay. Like that's it.
Right.
Like the whole thing from the beginning was just devil. Also, there was a major plot point in Longlegs, and this is the last thing I'll crap on Longlegs, because cinematically, in terms of the cinematography, shot very well. There were some really spooky moments. Like, it effectively was the genre that it was like trying to be. It was well done that way. But like, the main character in the first like third of the film has this ability to like low key, like she can low key see the future, like kind of like she knew where a serial killer was not related to Longlegs, based just because she was in the area. She was like, he's in that house, and she was right. Then they show this test of like, she's facing another wall, and this guy's like pulling out random like images and numbers, and she's accurately picking out the ones he picks out of like random whatever. So it's like she has some sort of like, I call it like The Shining, like the shine from Stephen King, like what talking about Welcome to Derry just now. That's on my mind. But like, it was very similar to that, where she just kind of knew, completely forgot about it. Like, completely, like, after the first third of the movie, that just is not a thing anymore. Like, they just don't talk, they don't reference it ever again. And so it's just kind of like, okay, like, yeah, you know what? So I had those problems with Longlegs, and now all of a sudden his future films have narrative problems. I went to go watch it with a buddy, and someone called Longlegs like Swiss cheese, just full of holes. Like, the story was just full of holes. So I'm not shocked to see, and I know that The Monkey was received fairly well, but it was more of a comedy, like it was silly. So I'm not shocked to see these narrative problems being the issue for Osgood Perkins. I'm hoping that turns around, because he can build a world very well, in a spooky sense, in like this that aura very well. But anyway, that is the majority of this past week's box office. Jake, is there anything else that catches your eye from the top 10 and beyond?
Well, let's see here. Chainsaw Man, still top 10. Still got 1,400 theaters hosting it in its 4th week, making over $41 million. So, and then I saw Demon Slayer was also in its 10th week, not so many theaters at 183. Just to point out the animes, that made 133 million. And these are domestic numbers. Which, so you got to remember, Chainsaw Man's like very new. I don't know how long the manga's been out, but like Chainsaw Man as a animation, as a TV show has not been out for very long, but Demon Slayer has, for probably late teens, late 20 teens, whereas Chainsaw Man's fairly recent in the pandemic era. I say that like 2019 isn't like very close, but I think Chainsaw Man was, sorry, I'm going to look this up really quick.
Oh, no, you're good.
The manga 2022.
Oh, very new.
Yeah. And then, Demon Slayer, I thought was 2019.
I think Demon Slayer's a little older than that, isn't it?
Series debuted in 2019.
Oh, okay.
The serialization was 2016
Okay.
when
not
the
as old as
manga
I
was
thought.
out. So like
Not as old.
roughly the same, but like Chainsaw Man is generally newer. But the manga's been out for Demon Slayer for almost 10 years.
Interesting.
But there's the Carpenter's Son had a limited release to 549 theaters. I know that was one that we had like mentioned, right? Isn't that the Nicolas Cage one?
Yeah, where he's Joseph, and it's the horror take on Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So that got a limited release. I don't know what is good for a 550 theater release, but it didn't crack 100,000. It got close at 98. No, 96,000. So outside of that, nothing really. So
Yeah.
we can move on.
Yeah. And we'll go ahead and round out our first segment with our box office predictions. This will be what we will go over early next week whenever hopefully one of us will have bragging rights. We'll be able to pick 5 out of 5. Again, this past week, Jake got 4 out of 5 right. I'm going to take the pressure off, and I'm going to go first because every week I make Jake go first. But this time, I will round it all out. So, our predictions are as follows. Wicked for Good at number 1. I don't think that's going to be very shocking. I think a lot of people are hyped for this film. I think that John M. Chu and, is it Warner Brothers that releases Wicked? I think that they are right on the money to want to release the sequel right away instead of, as we see more and more with series where they take years and years and years. So I think they're going to capitalize on that quick turnaround and make a ton of money. But
Universal
will make a ton of money on Wicked for Good. Second, I have Now You See Me 3. I think it'll stick around in that same probably 12 million area. I think it'll probably stay a little bit above half because it polls so well, but I think it will lose a lot, not just because it's in the second week, but because Wicked for Good will probably pull a very similar audience. Then third, I have the Sisu sequel. I know nothing about Sisu. I know nothing about the original. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't know. Wasn't interested by it. No shame for those who do like it. No shame for the genre. Just not my cup of joe. So, but
Jeez.
I can acknowledge that the original, Jake shared some knowledge with me that the original made 14 million in its debut. Don't think it will match that, but I do think it will do better than a film that already did worse this week, or did underperformed, I should say, this week in Running Man. I think Running Man will finish 4th, but it will fall probably closer to 10 million, and I think Sisu will probably crack 12. And then lastly, I think Predator Badlands in its 3rd week will hang around. But I had a real tough time. I had a real tough time not putting Brendan Fraser and Rental Family in there at 5. I had a real tough time not putting it there. And now Jake.
I don't think Predator's sticking around. I've got top 2, same as Ryan. Wicked for Good, Now You See Me 3. I've got Running Man holding out against Sisu, just because I think the demographic that know about Sisu is rather small, whereas Running Man can bridge more gaps, which is why it'll stick around. Whereas I don't know, like Sisu's got the main antagonist from the Avatar movies in it as the main antagonist.
Yeah.
So if you're into that guy, go watch Sisu. I think I'm saying that right too.
Sisu.
Sisu, I don't. Yeah. So this is.
Sisu.
We watched this back when trailers were a part of our main episode, where it turns out maybe in the first movie or somewhere along the line that this guy, the main character, it was directly involved in the death of the antagonist's family.
He jumped from like fighting Nazi Germans to like now like Russians.
Russians.
Yeah,
Russians.
yeah. And I remember having a big problem with that now that you say that, but
yeah. So now big bad guy is, I mean, there's an emotional appeal to it, but he's also like super sadistic. So it could be a fun watch on for that.
Oh,
but
insert classic enemy to capitalism, and that's who he fights.
Yeah. But I got Running Man beating it out. I just don't think that Sisu brings that type of pull. And then I think that Rental Family's got enough appeal with Brendan Fraser that people want to go watch this, because it could be a lighthearted, like, yeah, Wicked for Good might bring in the majority of the same people, but the other ones, I think the Now You See Me, like that's the appeal, is the Rental Family. But so I have it at 5.
Yeah.
I can talk myself out of it, but I don't think Predator's sticking around, and that's why I put it at 5, because it is the debut.
I will say this. I'll say this about Rental Family, and then we'll get out of segment 1. I really think we'll see it Oscar season. It just feels Oscar to me. It just seems so touching and so sweet, and I think that'll be where we see a lot of it. I just don't know. I hope you're right. I want to see it top 5. I want to see it higher than 5, but I just don't think that it's the kind of moneymaker that American audiences go out to see. I think that
I wish it hadn't have come out at this time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Think all the slow weekends we've had, and it comes out the one weekend that Wicked for Good comes out. Like
it's ridiculous. Coming out the weekend that it won't ever get footing, like for the next month.
Yeah.
Because like, if you guys remember what's coming out, I mean, even next week we got Zootopia 2 and Eternity and Hamnet alongside Wicked for Good. So
Searchlight, which was 20th Century Fox Searchlight, now it's Disney Searchlight, screwed them as the distributor. Completely screwed that film. I mean, absolutely. That is terrible. But anyway.
And then, I mean, towards the beginning of December, you also have JJK, which is a very popular anime, coming out the same day as Five Nights at Freddy's, which I'm actually starting to see traction of double people seeing both. People are saying that weekend is going to be super popular. One that I'm probably going to be dragged to.
Internet culture, man. That is quite the weekend for the internet culture. Is JJK and FNAF 2 all?
Well, there's a lot of overlap. The individuals who are into FNAF are definitely in the anime. So.
If you like the FNAF lore, you more than likely love anime. Like, let's just be real here. But so it's going to be very interesting, actually. But I think that's a great place to go and hop off here. So we're going to jump out of segment 1. And we'll hop into segment 2 after this break. So coming up after the break, Disney and YouTube officially strike a deal on a carrier deal, and the rise of the boutique distributor. What could that be? Find out up next. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Be on the Screen. You've made it to segment 2, which is always our major news topic. So we're going to give you 2 of the biggest stories from this past weekend. So one more interesting than the other, not quite groundbreaking, but still I think it's worth talking about regardless if you like the business. But the first, if you are a watcher of TV and you're one of 10 million subscribers to YouTube TV, you probably know about this one already, but Disney and Google finally reach an agreement ending a 15-day standoff on a carrier deal. Disney-owned content then immediately returned, including the DVR recordings, all back to subscribers. And that's still, from what I had read, the $20 voucher that YouTube had sent out to its subscribers sticks around. So winners all around for everybody, especially, I should say, just for the subscribers. We'll get into those fine details. So this past Friday, Disney and YouTube / Google and the parent company Alphabet, which is, again, Google's parent company, announced that agreement is for multi-year. So we're going to see
some marriage until probably like 2028, 2029 or beyond. This not only sees the aforementioned return of all the Disney-owned networks to the US's largest internet television provider, but also the return of the subscribers, as previously mentioned, DVR recorded content. But it also adds some new incentives for the subscribers on YouTube TV. According to Variety, YouTube TV will now also offer base subscribers select content from Disney's newly released ESPN Unlimited package, the all-encompassing app from the worldwide leader in sports, by the end of 2026. So we talked about it a little bit on the show, but not super in depth. This last September, Disney unveiled just what's called the ESPN app, and it is its own standalone. It takes content away from, or not specifically content away, it adds content that's not going to like charters, strictly for sports. So if you have a favorite, like if you're a Scott Van Pelt fan, if you like any sort of ESPN anchor, more than likely they have an extended show on ESPN, and Disney's trying to add another subscription. So it's separate from ESPN Plus. It's separate from your charter cable provider. It's standalone thing. Now, as part of this deal, ESPN Unlimited, which is that ESPN standalone app, will have some content being incorporated into the YouTube TV experience for even the base subscribers. Further, YouTube will now be offering select packages that will allow subscribers to include an add-on through the service containing the Disney Plus and Hulu bundle. So very, very based on what the subscriber is interested in, but specifically for Disney. These genre packages, as they were explained in Deadline, were a major point of discussion for Disney as they negotiated a new deal, as this allows subscribers to view their content specifically in ESPN Unlimited without the need to jump from app to app. Both companies released statements, with Disney's co-entertainment chairman Alan Bergman and Dana Walden, as well as ESPN exec Jimmy Pitaro, all releasing a joint statement in which the corporate trio expressed their excitement in their company's return to YouTube, declaring how the deal accentuates Disney's desire to evolve and deliver, quote, exceptional entertainment to audiences worldwide, which is the most Disney corporate lingo I've ever heard of in my life. As a YouTube spokesperson also took to the presses, describing how their company was pleased to reach an agreement that, quote, preserves the value of our service for our subscribers and future flexibility in our offers. What's interesting is that they would go on to apologize on behalf of YouTube, the spokesperson did, but also described that they were fighting on the subscribers' behalf, which I felt was kind of wishy-washy and flip-floppy from the spokesperson if they were getting that comment from YouTube itself and Alphabet. But anyway, there is only one true way to accurately describe the situation between the two of the largest entertainment/data controlling companies in the United States. This was a pissing match. That's the only way to describe it. It was a pissing match that started over, as you could probably guess, money. But in a very specific way. Google accused Disney of trying to use YouTube TV as a precedent for future negotiations. Their goal, as according to YouTube and Google, was to reset the market for the price of their suite of content for their future negotiations. So they were trying to go up to the biggest distributor or like subscriber, or not subscriber, but TV provider, and say, we are more expensive, so that they could turn around and use that number against other charters. So henceforth reset the market. Thus, the House of Mouse entered negotiations with YouTube asking for what was described as, quote, an unprecedented fee. Disney, as we talked about in previous weeks, simply claimed that YouTube was, quote, refusing to pay fair rates for our channels, and tried to say that they were trying to circumvent, what's the terminology I'm trying to think here too? They were circumventing competition, was what Google, which is crazy to think about from or not Google, but Disney claimed that against Google, which is crazy to think about. But anyway, but just as money giveth, money taketh away. As both companies were bleeding money as they held out over the course of that 2-week span. According to Variety, a survey revealed that up to 24% of YouTube TV subscribers were either thinking about or had already dropped their subscription, while Disney was reported by Morgan Stanley, an analyst, to be losing up to $4 million per day, while the two were under a blackout. When looking back at all the details, it's hard to discern exactly who came out victorious in the end. But I have to ask the question, who came out on top?
So, who had actually lost more money, I guess? You said 4 million, but so Disney lost 4.
YouTube could have lost up to 24% of subscribers. So you had 24% of people that said they already dropped it or were about to drop the subscription because they couldn't get ESPN.
Wow. Well, 24% who are thinking about doesn't matter, I guess, as much. So I would like to point out that these guys came to an agreement before our government did.
Yeah.
15 days versus more than a month.
Like a month and a half, right? Like almost 45 days.
Yeah. But that's besides the fact. Not getting political here, but I don't. What was the agreement so they are back? I have not found any numbers yet, but it's a multi-year carriage deal that sees a flexible package plan for YouTube TV subscribers, so they could bundle is just cable again.
Yes, they could bundle their YouTube TV subscription with Disney Plus and Hulu, and they base subscribers will be getting content from the ESPN Unlimited.
I don't pay for any of this, folks.
Jake is the 1% that does not care.
Because I'm not getting fooled by this cable nonsense, dude. Like, are you kidding me? Wake up, people. You're sheep. You're sheep.
It's funny you brought forth some political, and it's not like I'm making a political stance here, but there was a statement made that I didn't reflect in the story. According to Variety, Bob Iger told analysts this past Thursday, so the day before they had agreed, right? He was talking, and he had said, quote, "It's also imperative that we make sure that we agree to a deal that reflects the value," as an ad pops up, sorry, "that reflects the value that we deliver, which both YouTube, by the way, and Alphabet have told us is greater than the value of any other provider," which that is so Trumpian, that's insane. Like, to add that little lingo, like at the very end, "By the way, they told us we were the best provider." Like, that is exactly how that reads, hand motions and all. And so how Emperor Palpatine of him.
I did see where Trump got doctor's appointment or something, had a MRI or something like that, and people were asking, it's like, well, what did they scan? Like, what were they? Because you don't just go in and get a full body MRI. They got to go in and scan something in particular. Yeah. And so, but he says nope, they just scanned me. And the doctor said, best scan he's ever seen.
But that's what
possibly the healthiest man he's ever had.
That's what this reads like, though. It's like that's why I laughed. I saw it and I was like, what is this guy talking about? By the way, Alphabet said we were the best provider, and it's just like, shut up. Shut up. So it's like,
dude, my mom also says I'm the best son she's ever had.
Right. As the only son, I bet that's easy to say.
I don't know. Does Alphabet have other providers?
Well, you got to think Alphabet is the parent company of Google, right, which Google bought YouTube, and so YouTube TV deals with all of them, right? Like if there's a company, if there's a provider that's trying to have some sort of cable reach still, they're dealing with them. So it's not hard to believe that Disney would be the most profitable of them all because it's Disney and they own everything. But also it feels like to me, when I asked the question, who came out on top, it's not necessarily a question of who obviously is the winner based on money. But when I read all of the different articles and I see a spokesperson for one side apologizing and the other not, the other claiming victory, I think they're acknowledging themselves who won. It sounds to me like Google is saying and YouTube are saying, we're sorry this happened, and Google's saying, we got what we wanted. So I think, or not Google, sorry, Disney's saying we got what we wanted. I think YouTube lost. I think that whatever happened, now YouTube did claim that whatever happened, they loosely said, they didn't outright say, but that they were preserving the integrity of the price for the subscriber is essentially what they had said. But they did not say that the prices would not be rising. They did say when they went into the blackout that they were doing so because they did not want to have to raise the prices on the subscriber because Disney was asking for an unprecedented fee. Yeah. Now they're saying that they're not saying the fee won't go up, but they're acknowledging that the number might be better. So I think, if anything, I think YouTube lost. I think they lost bad. And what's unfortunate is, going into this, when I was looking online, people were saying that ESPN is not the same as it used to be. They used to be the worldwide leader in sports. Now they don't feel like, fans don't feel like they own that title anymore because there's so many, there's Fox Sports, there's FanDuel's gotten into kind of the sports realm with their, not just betting, but they have various shows, and they have various local. They bought out Bali Sports, so they provide the local sports teams and blackout markets. So I feel like people were saying like, look, ESPN's not as good as it used to be. There's a lot more competition. So YouTube doesn't have to back down because they're not of YouTube or ESPN of old. But you have to think, it's not just ESPN. That's just the biggest bargaining chip you have in the middle of the NFL, NBA, and college football season, right? Basketball season just started. You also have all the Disney channels. You have ABC. You have FX. All gone. So I think YouTube acknowledged defeat.
Yeah. But it is a good look that they apologized and are trying to be the people, even though it's not. I don't know. Don't read too far into it, Ryan. You're not supposed to tear apart their. I'm kidding.
I really think when you have a spokesperson saying we fought on your behalf and we're sorry that this happened. You know what that sounds like? You talk about like they saying the right things. That sounds like when we raised the price of your subscription $15 in about 3 months. Remember, we're sorry that you lost your content today, but we were fighting for you. Now instead of $90, it's $105 a month. Like, that's what it sounds like. That is really what that sounds like to me.
I can't. Brian, don't ever talk money because I know you buy YouTube TV. Don't ever
unsubscribe.
You don't.
I
you unsubscribe.
When they
you were the
rose,
24%.
Well, no. Months ago, it was like 70 something, maybe 80. Then they booted it up to 90. And this was like 3 or 4 months ago. And I was like, heck no. And so I unsubscribed. Like I very quickly, I canceled that subscription just because it's like, I'm not paying. Because the thing, I don't use YouTube TV like as much as I probably should to be paying $90. So it's like, for me, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm bumming my family's DirecTV. Like that's what I'm doing. It's cheaper. Sometimes there's too many streams going on, so I just find something else to watch. Like, sorry, like I don't get to watch that basketball game. But most of the time there's enough room for me to watch something. So it's not worth. My
granddad's got ESPN Plus just because he'll turn it on at parties. At parties, Ryan.
I think ESPN Plus is probably cheaper than YouTube TV, but even then, like I'm not paying, I think it's $30 a month. $30 a month for the ESPN Unlimited app.
He might watch UK.
I'm not paying $300 just to be able to watch basketball. Like I love sports with all my heart, and there are things that I will pay for. But like when I could turn on a movie on Netflix for $8 a month, right? I can turn around and watch Peacock and watch any of the sports on NBC or any of the programming they have on their streamer for $15 a month. Like there are so many other things. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I think that YouTube is acknowledging a loss, and I think they're acknowledging a big one, and I think it's sad. Any final thoughts on Google and YouTube?
I have none. I hate that that's how much it costs.
Yeah, to watch TV.
Because cable was cheaper and you got everything.
You know what's crazy? Look up what DirecTV costs.
Oh, yeah. Is it? It's probably cheaper.
No, it's a lot higher.
Oh, is it higher now? Is it $200?
YouTube at 90 is one of the cheapest full cable providers.
Yeah, but I can't get everything.
I mean, yeah, you can. YouTube TV, you get a lot. You can bundle it with the NFL Sunday Ticket, so you get all of like the games and stuff. Blackout,
Premier,
market games.
ESPN, Disney Plus, Hulu, Stars, Paramount, Showtime, HBO Max.
It's like $150.
$125.
$125 a month.
$170 a month DirecTV. It's $45 off your first. That's how they get you, but it's $170 for all of those.
Yeah. The only reason now you probably do get a little bit more with that DirecTV, but not much. The only reason that my family pays for it is because we have such a big family that it's like it makes more sense to get more. But like,
yeah, but it's those subscriptions: HBO Max, Paramount, Disney Plus, ESPN, and 185 channels.
Yep.
Arguably, maybe cheaper.
Yep.
Just to go back to cable.
Yep. That's why I stopped paying for it. That's why I stopped paying for it.
We've gone backwards.
Oh no, it's a circle. And I think at some point we're gonna get some company that's gonna be like, I have an idea. What if they were all together?
and we'll offer them all at once.
They're already doing that.
I know, but it's going to be like one comprehensive, just like cable, and it's just going to be back. And it's going to be called like DirecTV Platinum. And it's just like all of them. Anyway. We'll move on. I am
society.
too. Our second story of the evening. Let me find the button.
In the beginning.
Indie films continue to benefit from what's being called the boutique distributor model. I thought this was one of the most interesting stories to come out of the weekend. When Kristen Stewart first screened her directorial debut called The Chronology of Water this past May at the Cannes Film Festival, many were curious as to which lucky distributor would scoop up such a film. I mean, this is someone who, in the minds of millennials and young and Gen Zers everywhere, she is one of the people that made young childhoods and young adult lives with her work on Harry Potter. She is still, I mean, I think Perks of Being a Wallflower, like, she's now stepping back, going into the producer-directorial role, and this was a film that was received very well at one of the world's biggest film festivals in like kind of like buying markets of the year. So people are like, where's she going to go? Where's this film going to go? Yet when the rights went to a small company named The Forge, Variety pointed out one unified question across the industry. What the hell is The Forge? Founded by Mark Matthias Sayer, which is what a name, Mark Matthias Sayer. The indie distributor found its roots in lieu of COVID. As a film producer, Sayer found himself asking some grounded questions regarding his career. What sales entity do I work with in terms of how do I get my films out there? What vehicles should we use with the content that we're trying to create? Using the success of what would become The Forge, Sayer and company utilized a model that tests what a theatrical release can look like beyond the major distributors currently operating in Hollywood. The Daily's newsletter points out 3 key factors that make these smaller boutique distributors, as they're called, enticing to indie filmmakers. 1, distributors who prioritize an ultra-niche topic to ultra-niche audiences, then tailoring their release and marketing towards those communities that would find that content interesting. 2, they intentionally take losses at the box office, sometimes offering a 50-50 split on ticket sales with theater chains, so theater chains are more likely to take in those films to get a broader reach, so they're intentionally taking a loss. They're saying, we're not going to make money on the box office. But the goal is to get a broader reach to gain more hype for a potential sale to Netflix and HBO Max, where the majority of the audiences are. And 3, some allow filmmakers to make money immediately from the box office. So when they split 50-50, the 50 that they get goes immediately to cash or to the pockets of the directors and the producers of the film, which the way that the traditional market works in like distributors, they are making their money back before they get to directors and actors. And that's why it's a big deal when a film flops, is because usually the distributor is going to make their money first. In this type of model in the boutique distributor, it's not always like that. Sometimes filmmakers will make their money first. Companies outside of The Forge that have found success in the model include Watermelon Pictures, which targets a Palestinian audience, a female director-oriented production house named Future of Film is Female, Suncatcher Productions, which focuses on female stories, people with disabilities, the environment, etc., and many more, like 1-2 Special, Joint Venture, Muscle Distribution, and more. So there's a lot of these different production companies that are taking this route, right? The boutique distribution route. Quote, there isn't a one-size-fit-all approach anymore, says Landmark Theater's Senior VP of Film, Mabel Tam, via Variety. Continuing, quote, the biggest thing you need is patience, and you have to find your niche. The word of the day continues to be niche. When you're reading up on this, everyone's talking about niche. For indie films that continue to pile up in in today's day and age of larger distributors, they find themselves with less and less of a budget, right? So these major production chains, they're not getting enough money for marketing these smaller films. They're not getting enough money to buy these smaller films. And the films that they are buying, they're seeing less and less money come to them to meet their quotas. So finding a media outlet that tailors itself not only to your audience, but also to your content is something that's becoming more and more viable for these indie filmmakers. With a flood of new players in the game of theatrical distribution, some industry insiders caution producers and urge the need for due diligence, was a big word, due diligence, before doing any sort of business. Jake, do we think that this will be a sustainable model from everything we've read? And I've only given you, like, this is by no means a comprehensive, like, read through of what this is. This is a basic understanding of this model. And the idea of major names in Hollywood are who are jumping to the director's chair and producer's chair are going this route in Kristen Stewart. Is this
I
just
think
a trend? Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, a trend in response to the modern day content creation. I'll finish your story.
Thank you.
But I think it is a trend. I think it's like, oh, this can be profitable if we can win at Netflix or streaming. Like, I think it's just like, oh, there's money if we do it this way, but it is like the risky venture, I guess, that is off the beaten path. But it is an option. Like, and so, I mean, I look at it and I'm like, oh man, not making money here and then hoping that you generate enough hype that Netflix or HBO Max or a streaming service wants to buy it. And then it's like, well, and then hopefully that they offer you that much to get paid. It's awesome for the filmmakers who seem to get, or some allow them to get the money immediately. So like, obviously why not for those guys, but, it seems like a whole lot riskier, going about it this way. But it does get your film off the ground, I guess. So
Yeah.
the indie film side of it's like, well, anything that I can do to get my film off the ground. And if it's good enough, and I think it's good enough, or it is good enough, maybe Netflix will want it. And that's kind of like the dream nowadays, right? That's something that like even Rick and Morty, like even Morty wanted to do is get a film on Netflix, get bought by Netflix. That was the goal of one film. And by the end of it, he realized that he didn't really care about getting a film into Netflix because he did get it and he was in the meeting and I think he bombed it on purpose. But I think it's the trend right now because if Netflix is buying and HBO Max is buying, people are going to take advantage in any way they know how, which apparently is splitting 50-50 and bombing at the box office. So
I agree with you in large part, but I do think that there are aspects. So the question to go back over, and like you answered it perfectly, but is this a trend or is this something that will stick around? And I think that there are aspects of this that will stick around. I think that as we know it now, it's a trend. But I do think there's some genius in here. I think this is the pilot of what will be a regular industry model 15 years down the line, right? I think the idea of a smaller production house or distribution house catering their film towards an audience that they know will like it and having a higher probability of getting that film in theaters because the theater chains are more likely to make money. I do think that those are things that we will find some one or two or three that will be successful, and they will be like your A24s, like your Neons, right? We'll know them just bigger names, and that's what they'll do. They will find a way to succeed. They will get more marketing, like partnership opportunities with these bigger companies who will sponsor their things, and that's where they will make some money, is like outside partnerships, not just ticket sales. But because they're so willing to go 50-50 and they're so willing to pay out their filmmakers, what you'll see is, I feel like if this model takes off with just a few companies who can kind of find their niche and do their thing, you'll find bigger filmmakers who will come down because they're like, oh, I can make my money straight up out of the box office instead of going through these bigger distributors. Yeah, I'll go this route. So then you'll have those few that are start taking off with, like, again, we're talking about Osgood Perkins, who has a cult following right now. People love his films, even the ones that aren't that great. Say he and Neon have a breakup in 5 years, and one of these production houses, maybe not cater towards the female director or a Palestinian audience, but one of them who's like, yeah, we do horror. We do like indie horror. Like, that's our thing. Who's to say that he won't go down? All of a sudden there's an audience for that. It's the kind of the format that they follow. They go to these various cities. There's a call for a bigger distribution. They get bigger, like AMC theaters. They get all these different places who are like, we want to do this. All of a sudden now you have a few who are successful, right? So I think right now what we're seeing is the idea is so popular that you're seeing a bunch pop up everywhere. And then I think 2 or 3, maybe 4 will cannibalize the rest of them because they will be successful and they will just start buying out everyone else. So then their reach grows bigger. But I do think the idea of like, and the thing is, the article from Variety even acknowledged, was like, hey, there will be a lot that fail, like in this model. But I do think the idea of like tailoring your releases. So there was one, and I don't remember, I think it was Suncatcher Productions. They had released a film in Florida. Then they went up to New York. And as they moved and made deals with these chains, they were making more and more money, and their word of mouth advertisement became more and more prevalent. I think stuff like that, especially if you know you're going to succeed in that market, in that area
with that audience, I don't think there's a reason that it will fail. You just have to make sure you're getting the proper following. But then again, how close is that to just like guerrilla filmmaking in general, just posting it to YouTube? You know what I mean? Like you tour with it, you take it to different film festivals, and you do the same thing. I think that this is just old, renewed tactics, just in a different light. So yeah, I do think that as we know it now, it is a trend, but I think that there are a lot of things in it that are genius, i.e., tailoring the release, not just nationwide and hoping that you like catch as much with a big end net as possible. You tailor it to smaller markets with smaller audiences, knowing you're going to hit big in those areas and kind of tour it.
Which I mean, I've been sending you. Baron Ryan is a content creator first and foremost, and then now he's gotten into short films, acting, and now directing. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how he did it. I think he raised some money and petitioned, but I think over 100 theaters put his film in. And I forgot to check on the box office today, but he should be in it, whether at the bottom or
yeah.
Check. But you're still to like, as long as you can generate hype on your own.
Yeah,
marketing wise.
Chris Struckman just a few weeks ago, like the YouTuber, like critic turned director on Shelby Oaks, if I remember correctly. I mean, that's exactly your point. Is it was the Kickstarter to get signed and picked up by Neon. That's exactly why that happened. So I feel like this is just kind of like what has been taken a little bit further with its own twist. But I do think that we will see this to continue because that's what's been happening.
Trying to find out if this actually did come out.
Oh no, you're good. What was the name of the film?
Two Sleepy People, and it is not showing up in this weekend's box office. So I don't know if it was this weekend. Maybe it's next weekend. Anyway. Sorry.
No,
it is very. I look forward to it. It's two office colleagues become spouses each night, only to return as strangers when morning comes.
Ooh,
very interesting.
Yeah, that's a cool premise.
So, hour and a half for his first feature length.
90 pages, good.
So, I guess that's feature length, hour and a half.
Yeah, 90. No, oh yes, for sure.
90-minute.
Yeah. Any further comments on the potential for boutique distribution?
I like this. I look forward to seeing how it manifests, but right now I think it's just the fad. I think I agree that you'll have like the ones that come out on top. You'll have a handful, if not less, 3 probably that do this. And I mean, they're after, let's be honest, they're probably after Oscars more so than.
Yeah, I mean, A24 does the same thing. I don't think A24 for a long time, if not now even, they're not profitable. Like that's not what they do. But that's kind of why you follow that model, is you make your money on the back end with other things. But anyway, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to our final segment. So coming up after the break, we play Real or Fake and what you should know before you go. Both coming up next. Hello, everybody. And again, welcome to Beyond the Screen. You made it to segment 3, which is always, we will run through our new game that we started last week. We play Real or Fake. We give you some headlines, and then we go through what could be the most hyperbolic or the most interesting, is it real, is it not, questions, and we will tell you what we think. And then we give you the last of the news, the biggest news that happened this week, and then we let you guys go. But before we get into all that, I always like to say thank you for watching. To allow us to be here for over an hour, getting close to an hour 5, just to like chit chat, 2 friends who love what we do, and we have big plans that we're always kind of scheming for. I like to say that like we hang out, but we hang out to scheme. We're always just planning stuff. We're always trying to like grow and do the next thing, and this is a big part of that. And so the fact that you guys allow us to do this every week is I cannot describe just the thanks that I wish I could give you. There's nothing I could do that will show my appreciation for allowing us to do this, but if there's anything that you feel like we could do to grow our content that at home as a viewer you would like to see, we'd love to hear it. We have some things that we're always planning and always trying to do differently and have fun here. So we're always in for a suggestion. But let us know your thoughts, comments. Tell us what we should talk about. And thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, again, comment, follow whatever platform you're on. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, and we're on YouTube. So with that, Jake, you ready for segment 3?
I am.
We play real or fake. Again, as I described earlier, as the game goes, I'm going to read through a quick headline. I'm going to tell you a quick real or fake scenario, and me and Jake will decide whether or not it's a real or fake scenario. We're going to start with Nintendo and Sony as they release. Jake is calling real very quickly, and you'll see why. Because
they're real. They're real.
They are real.
Sony are real.
Yeah, they are very real.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, they released first look imagery of their upcoming The Legend of Zelda live action adaptation. And Jake, I just want to take a second to appreciate.
That's real.
Here's one quick. This is very real. Here's one quick image from that.
Doesn't it look awesome?
The tease. Look at this. I just like I remember when they first announced this. Me and you on the show were like, "What are they doing? Like, why is this not animated?" But I can tell you, after seeing this, they look like that's what they'd look like if they were real. That's what they would look like if they were real people. It's there. And
I see no weapons on Link. I see none of what he should have, right?
It could be just the way the shot is composed in this. Because I can't it'd be really difficult to imagine that he doesn't have, or maybe this is like some introductory thing where he's like learning, but I don't know. But either way, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I could not be more excited to see kind of like how
Hyrule, right?
Yes. I'm not like
the land.
I'm not the biggest, like, you probably know more about this than I do. I'm not a huge Nintendo or like Zelda fan, but like, I don't know. I'm interested to see the story of Link and how this continues and Zelda as an extension. But I don't know. I think that this is the quintessential like look for them. And I think it's gonna be tough to follow up if they ever decide to do like sequels way down the line. So
well, it looks like Zelda's taking the lead, at least in this shot, whereas
yes,
Link is not armed. I mean, at least visibly armed, where he usually has a shield. I mean, in other, sword or what is it called? The Triforce sword.
I think so.
Something like that. And so I'm not seeing like any shield. I'm not seeing a sword, but she is armed, bow and arrow. And I wonder if they're gonna do. This would totally flop, but a musical, because it was always, or at least not always, but I remember the Legend of Zelda games having a musical portion. I could be wrong. Maybe that's just Ocarina of Time, but I know there was a train one. I played the DS games more so than I did but it looks beautiful outside of that. I just wonder what the story's going to be.
I don't know. I'd be excited to see which game they adapt, because they have to adapt one of them. I doubt this will be a completely original story. I did go ahead and look up very quickly. Our two leads in this film are Bo Bryson, who plays Zelda, and Benjamin Ainsworth, who is Link in this image. And again, they look great. I wanted to see what they starred in before, because they're both very young. Ainsworth, Benjamin, our boy here, Link, starred as the voice of Pinocchio in the terrible live-action adaptation from Robert Zemeckis at Disney, the same year that we had the amazing adaptation that was Guillermo del Toro's stop motion. You had the Tom Hanks starring live-action from Disney, and he was Pinocchio. He voiced Pinocchio. Yeah. And so that's his kind of claim to fame before what we will now be his claim to fame as Link. But Bo Bryson, again, plays Zelda, and she wasn't really in a ton. She was in some series called Renegade Nell, a film called Censor, The Radleys, and Three Girls, which Three Girls was a miniseries. So she's been kind of like doing from project to project, but this seems to be, again, her big thing, her big break. So getting off of this, we will stop talking exclusively about the film because we have to talk about our real or fake. So real or fake?
Oh, yeah.
After looking at these images, that's what we're doing. You're right.
Yeah, right.
After looking at these images, The Legend of Zelda has the chance to be the best live-action adaptation of any kind ever. Real or fake?
Fake.
Explain.
Not happening. I don't think this is going to be the best live action adaptation like of any kind ever. That's like this is top dog, and I don't think so. Like we've yet to see Moana. No,
Yeah.
but those photos and imagery did also come out today. So go look at those if you want to go see live action Moana imagery. Actually, it might be a whole trailer that dropped. I'm not sure, but no, the Legend of Zelda is not going to be the best ever of any kind. No.
What
No.
does it have to compete with? Like, what's the best live action adaptation ever? Earlier this year was How to Train Your Dragon, right?
Which I don't think that's going to be of any kind ever.
I think the highest grossing so far was the live action The Lion King. But I just don't think, I mean, a Minecraft movie, I guess. But like,
well, you got to remember, Alvin and the Chipmunks is a live action adaptation.
are we really going to count Alvin and the Chipmunks as like something that is like the best of?
No, but I am saying that like you got a whole lot like live action Scooby Doo counts as live action adaptation.
Do we think this has the option to be better? Like, that's the question. So like, I'm looking through here. I'm just looking through live action adaptations, right? I'm seeing Cruella. Cruella was okay, right? Didn't really need a sequel, but it was all right. Scooby Doo. I grew up with both of the live action adaptations starring Matthew Lillard. James Gunn wrote the sequel. I think that they're good, but does this have the option to be better? I think there are a lot better live action adaptations. I think this will be better than The Jungle Book. I think this will be better than Beauty and the Beast. I think this will be better than like I mean, even on here, it's got Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Now that one, it's gonna be a tough live action adaptation to beat. But
what is a live action adaptation, Ryan, to you? Because arguably, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit.
I'm saying digital media. I'm saying digital media. So like video games, cartoons, that sort of thing. Animation.
Okay. Looking through. 1 second.
It's better than Dumbo. It's better than The Last Airbender by a mile. I think it's better than Speed Racer.
Sonic?
There you go. See, that's an interesting conversation. Do we think it'll be better than Sonic?
I don't know, man. Like I don't think so. I don't. There's no way this one is of any kind ever. And you said of any kind, so this is. You could nix that, but if you say of any kind ever, I'm saying no. It cannot beat Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter as a live action adaptation.
Okay, then let's stick to digital media then.
But if we stick to digital media, it has a better chance. But I'm not going to say that it does because there's no way.
Will this be better? Now, not taking in the meme culture that surrounded this one or the box office success, will this be a better movie than a Minecraft movie?
In like story?
Will it be a better movie? Like
or
money? Whatever floats your boat. Will it be a better movie?
Well, it's not going to beat it money. I don't.
Is it going to be? So we have a Minecraft movie. We have Scooby Doo. We have Sonic. How to Train Your Dragon. I would even say, let's see here.
The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book had a.
The Lion King was the one I was going to say. I don't think the Jungle Book is. You have the original Alice in Wonderland.
We have the
Johnny Depp.
The Jungle Book came out with
Bill Murray as Baloo.
Yeah, in the live action.
I don't think it was good, but I don't think it was great. I mean, like I think that there are a lot of.
I'm just naming stuff like Detective Pikachu.
Oh, come on. I think that this has now. I'm not going to say real per se because I do think there's some intriguing. You're shaking your head awfully. No,
it's fake, dude. I don't think so. I don't think so. You pulled that one out of your derriere.
I'm just saying. Hey, I'm seeing a lot of people say that they think this could be the best video game or digital media live action adaptation ever.
Wrong.
Jake says staunch false. I'm going to also say fake because I don't think it'll beat Sonic, but I do think that if the story is as good as what it looks like, true to source, I think we will regard this one as up there.
You can have a beautiful movie and it just be dog. Like,
I literally just said if the story is up to par with the visuals, then I think it'll be up there because Sonic's got a good story. I think How to Train Your Dragon following almost beat for beat the animation, I think is great. I think there's a select few that it would have a tough time beating. But anyway, moving on next. Matthew McConaughey and Michael Caine both partner with AI firm 11 Labs, allowing fans to create content using their iconic voices. So real or fake, Jake? These early AI partnerships are just a formality, and future actors will have no way to stop the public from using their iconic voices.
fake. No. Public. Real. Sorry. I had you change that before, and I still forgot what I was going to say.
No, it's okay.
So before the show, it was not specified about the public being able to be stopped from using their iconic voices. And I had Ryan make that distinction, and he made the distinction that the public couldn't be stopped because I think he thought it was a better talking point. With you got McConaughey and Caine giving up their voices for the AI firm. Ryan brings up the point of Sora allowing hundreds upon thousands, millions of people to create celebrities and create videos with them. I don't think you can stop that unless you take away those platforms, maybe. So if it's an indie film, if it's a larger distributor, you can definitely sue them to the moon. But like the public, stopping the public from using iconic celebrities' voices in their AI clips, no, you can't stop that. You're not going to be able to unless you truly like figure out legislation and ban these AI, because there's always ways you can get around AI.
I don't think it'll matter.
People are getting around AI like no tomorrow, these guidelines, because I mean they're just not in place. They're so loose, and you can just retrain an AI just by talking to it. You can't stop the public. So I think this is real if it's sequestered to the public. Now, what we had before, there's an argument where litigation can prevent businesses and or even small indie houses from utilizing celebrity voices who have not given up rights.
Yeah. I will also say this is real. I do think it's just a formality. And I did bring up Sora mainly because that app, the way it got in some controversy when it first released, because the way that they did their service, you had to opt out. You did not get asked permission to use, but if like their way around getting in trouble in legal litigation was, oh, but if you don't like it, you could just say you don't want to be in it. But then that's after hundreds of thousands or millions of people that have already used your face and your voice without your permission, but they can't get in trouble for it. Even if, and I actually disagree with you talking about there being, if there's legislature brought forth, doesn't matter, because think about deepfakes. Deepfakes have been a problem for a really long time.
I haven't done a thing.
It's just, there's nothing they can do. Like, what can you do if you get caught? But it's almost impossible, right? I think that this will just get worse. I think that people with AI will get so advanced that the more and more it progresses, the more and more user-friendly it'll get, and the more the common man can do things now that someone 10 years ago couldn't even dream of. So I think as that continues to progress, even if legislation does come down the pike, that's like, hey, illegal unless given permission. Does it matter? Because if deepfakes are a problem already, imagine when AI is good enough that you can just type in a prompt and all of a sudden Matthew McConaughey or, like, I don't know, name it, so Tom Cruise is talking to you or saying whatever you want him to say, and there's almost no way to trace it. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that I think it's completely real, and I do think that this is all a formality from these companies to try to be like, oh yeah, let us do this. And I don't think that like 11 Labs is going about trying to be all mischievous and whatever. Like, I genuinely think they are trying to have like good faith here, but I do think that it is more or less a formality, because it's like it's not going to matter in 10 years. It really won't, because you're going to have permission from the bigger ones who are going to be using it for genuine cinema, but the average everyday person who's using AI, they're not going to go get permission.
The way to get around this is the distributors who own the rights to the movies sell the right to the character to the AI guys. And it's like, oh, but this is just the character that Matthew McConaughey played.
Yeah.
And it sounds like
Matthew
the
McConaughey
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that this trend first started with James Earl Jones when his estate, or before he passed, allowed for the use of his voice for Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And I think that it will just continue.
And then the first thing we saw when that happened was Fortnite was like, let's put Darth Vader, and AI bought a Darth Vader. And they immediately had that thing saying every racial slur you can imagine.
Yeah.
And so it's just going to get worse.
Because it had no guardrails, man.
It's
and
gonna
even
get
if it
worse.
did, it could be reprogrammed easily. So
Yeah, it's going to get worse. Moving on. Miles Teller on why his 2015 Fantastic Four flop was so terrible. Quote, honestly, maybe there was one really important person who kind of effed it all up. He didn't say names, but he did kind of allude to the fact that maybe there was a few people who said or did things they shouldn't have. So real or fake?
or one really important person.
Yeah, this one was kind of, I'm not even gonna lie, it was petty on my part because I thought this was hilarious that he, after he had some successes after this, tried to go back and be like, bah, 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 bah. So real or fake? In another universe, Josh Trank's Fantastic Four from 2015 is actually a good movie. In any universe, real or fake?
Fake. Ryan doesn't like that movie. I don't remember it a whole bunch. I don't even remember who the big bad was.
It was Doctor Doom.
Was it?
Yeah. It was it's unfortunate because in his point to Miles
I was
Teller's
excited though. I was super excited that we got another one.
the second I saw the Thing naked, I was like, this is going to be bad. Like, I'll put it this way. Miles Teller made the point that it was him, it was Mara, it was Michael B. Jordan. And he was like, we had the crew, we had like people who were passionate about it. Like we were on our way to making a good film. And there was this really funny moment in this article from, I think it was Variety. That was when they were talking about it. Apparently, Josh Trank sent out an email to the cast and crew after they had completed it and before it was released. And he was like, this is better than 99% of all comic book movies. And some unnamed member of the cast responded with, I don't think so. So I just think there's a lot of funny, like in natures in terms of like people knew it was bad. And I just think if you're going to be successful, you have to be true to source material, right? And you have to get a director who knows what he's doing. And not to say Josh Trank doesn't know what he's doing, but I just don't think there's any universe where this take in this specific story was going to succeed. Could this cast have succeeded if they had a better writer, if they had better whatever? Yeah, probably. But not this version. I think this was doomed from the start. I think this was a cash grab by Fox at the time to try to make some money on the backs of a very successful MCU. So they rushed out a project. And this was around the time that like, I don't think this was Days of Future Past because that one was a good one, but this was around the time that you had some of those questionable X-Men movies too, because they were just trying to pop stuff out, like Dark Phoenix and what was the horror mutant one where they were like learning how to use their powers. I don't remember what that one's called, but that one was terrible. Yeah, I think this is completely fake. I don't think there's in any universe this is a good film. Regardless of what Miles Teller wants you to believe. I'm sorry, my guy. And lastly, Christopher Nolan revealed in an interview with Empire that he used over, quote, 2 million feet of film over the course of the production of the Odyssey. So real or fake, Jake? We will look back on the Odyssey in the same light as the biggest epics in cinema history. So think Ben-Hur, Lawrence of Arabia, Gone with the Wind. Jake, before we started recording, you brought up like Titanic, right? And The Wizard of Oz. Will we remember the Odyssey in that light? Real or fake?
I have not seen the Odyssey.
Well, no one has. It's not been out yet.
They were talking big game with Oppenheimer, and I don't know if that's going to be remembered as one of the biggest epics of the 2020s. It could possibly, maybe, if people keep talking about how he set off a real nuclear bomb. I think people forget that. I think people forget that Florence Pugh was naked.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, but I don't know yet. Like I don't know if I can talk on that. I'm gonna say fake for now, but it could be absolutely mind blowing, right?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say real.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm saying real is because this is really the first of its kind with the Odyssey, right? The Odyssey is in many ways the original epic, right? Like the Odyssey is the niche of all niches, the cliche of all cliche. And I think that this, in many ways, and now this is where the question becomes, I'm going on a limb and saying real just because everyone is expecting it to be that, and Nolan has never failed to deliver.
And if it delivers as big as what people say it will be, then it will be that type of film. I'm not saying the best film of all time. I'm not trying to say this is something that will upend cinema in every way, shape, or form. I'm just saying, will this go down as like A Space Odyssey, as Lawrence of Arabia, those films that we look back and say those are the epics of our time. I think that the Odyssey has every opportunity to do that if his track record holds to form, i.e. his being Chris Nolan. I don't know. I just feel like we're so close. I think that the biggest problem is, and you brought up this great point, if people can't get over the fact that Nolan has already had his magnum opus, Nolan has already put out the best film he'll ever put out.
It's the Batman.
No, but that is a good one. It's Interstellar. I think that hurts him. I think that Oppenheimer might be a better film than Interstellar, but, and I say might because I don't like it better. But hold on. That's what I'm saying. Because Interstellar was first, I think that people will, I think it will be really hard for people. This is the battle it will deal with, is will a film like The Odyssey, when compared to the best film he's ever made, will it ever stack up? I think that is where we will get to. Will it be? I think both can be true. I think that you can have a film like The Odyssey be everything it's supposed to be and still not be his best film ever. Be the epic of our time with the Avatars and with the Avengers, and not be his best film. And so I think that that's where people will try to make the distinction and say, no, there's no way it can be the one of or the epic of our time because it wasn't even his best film. Okay? It doesn't have to be better than Interstellar. It just has to be epic. It has to be the epic of our time, which Interstellar, you could argue, might be an epic. I just think it's one of the best films ever made. But, i.e., point in case.
But live action Lilo and Stitch exists. So.
Yeah, that's there. But what about Madam Web?
Yeah.
You ever seen Madam Web?
Morbius.
I was about to say, it's Morphin time?
Yeah.
Troning
time.
Tron Ares? It's Troning. It's Troning time. I feel like it sounds like a Ben 10 like alien.
He could be. I didn't
anyway. You didn't watch Ben 10 or Tron?
Tron.
Okay. Yeah, you did watch Tron, you liar. There's a whole hour-long episode of us talking about it.
Ryan forgot for probably a few seconds there that I was literally next to him.
He was like, I never saw it. And for a second, I was like, my honest thought was like the original Tron?
Which I haven't actually seen.
I was about to say, I wouldn't be shocked if you hadn't seen that. It's pretty good. But
yeah.
Anywho, that, my friends, was real or fake. To end the show,
all fake, by the way.
All fake, says Jake. I think there's a few that could be real. But anyway, we're going to run through our final thoughts, what you should know before you go and get you out of here. We only got 3. Very quick ones. Number 1, Sabrina Carpenter to produce and star in a new Alice in Wonderland adaptation for Universal because it hit the public domain not long ago.
Yay!
Second, a new Star Trek film is in development from Dungeons & Dragons and Spider-Man Homecoming writers Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley.
Interesting.
And lastly, Ryan Coogler confirms that his next film will in fact be Black Panther 3.
Yay. I guess.
What of those 3 interest you?
Probably the Sabrina Carpenter Alice in Wonderland because I think the curb appeal, I guess is the best way to put it, is like big name, big deal, popular, and then star Alice in Wonderland, and you've got the Cheshire Cat. I think that's like a big character that everybody really likes. And so big name, big movie, fun, right? Mad Hatter, like Johnny Depp was the last one to like play that one, right?
So good. Yeah,
right.
He was so good.
I think people will be sat for that one. I'm excited to talk about that one when it actually like comes to fruition, because I think it'll garner a lot of talks. But then secondly is the Star Trek one. I'm intrigued because of the writers, the Dungeons and Dragons and the Spider-Man Homecoming having the writers behind the new Star Trek film. It's going to be interesting because this is probably going to be a different Star Trek type film than we've seen in the past. So it's going to be told drastically different, I think, and probably a little bit more fun and lighter hearted, if I'm judging those writers correctly. So, or they don't, and they take a completely different like path and try to do something crazy different. But
I agree, but I think Dungeons and Dragons was one of the. I think Star Trek 1 is my most interesting. I'm very interested in this because I'm not like as much of a Trekkie as I am like a Star Wars fan, but I do like Star Trek. I think Dungeons and Dragons is criminally underrated. I think that film is fun. It's not trying to be. There's this genre of film that's like it's made for the fun of being made, right? Like Dungeons and Dragons is fun for those. Now I don't necessarily play, but I have a lot of friends who do play Dungeons and Dragons, D&D. They said that the film was very much like a game of D&D. It was like a campaign. And that's what made it fun, was it felt like guys playing the game, but you were in the world of the game. I felt like it was that type of fun. I didn't feel like it was trying to be anything more than just the Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine and all of the crew. So I was delighted throughout that film. I just thought it was fun. I thought it was just silly, goofy nerd, right? But a lot of people hated on it because it wasn't like the most polished film ever. With this, I would love to see Star Trek lean into the fun, but also I hope that it stays close to the source material in the essence of like Star Trek. It in itself does take itself a little bit more seriously in terms of like the sci-fi aspect. Like the biggest complaint from a Trekkie to Star Wars is that Star Wars is more fantasy, which is very true. So I think as long as you stay in that line of like it is still Star Trek, I think they can have as much fun as they want. Homecoming was the quintessential origin without the origin story for Spider-Man that we've ever seen. So I'm very excited to see. These writers are very accomplished. They're very well regarded, especially for Spider-Man. So I'm excited. I really look forward to the Star Trek. And last thing I'll say, and this is how I'll end the show. Sabrina Carpenter, I worry only because I don't doubt her acting chops. She obviously got her start as an actor on Disney. I worry that it'll just become a music video. It'll be a musical.
It's probably going to be a musical.
That's my worry is it'll just be a musical. And if it's a musical, it's just going to be a glorified 2-hour Sabrina Carpenter music video. Yay. I don't want that. I would be okay if it's a true like actual adaptation. It's an actual film. It could be a musical. Like that's not necessarily the problem. But like if it's what I fear it will be, it's just a cash grab. And but if it's actually an adaptation that they want to take it a different route and they want to be like have their own take on it, and she just happens to be the lead that they want to go with, I'm here. But I have that concern. And that, my friends, is the show. Jake, any final thoughts you want to leave with the glorious people?
Nope. I got nothing.
He done.
I'm tired. Yawn counter. Count them up this episode because we're double digits.
Ooh.
I think
I need like a soundboard, and I need to count them up, like the count them up, like that. After you say that, because that's like the second episode in a row you've had the count them up counter.
Yeah,
the yawn.
And both of them are yawns.
Yeah, yawn counter.
You'd be tired, man. Always. So let's get these folks out of here. So I can get out of here.
Thank you guys for being here, and we will see you guys next week on another episode of Beyond the Screen. Bye.